What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs, bringing you a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going over Saturday, not Sunday, Saturday's 3-game slate. Now, this is for, normally I'd say cash, but we only have a 3-game slate, so you could consider this cash or safe plays, whatever you want to consider it. These are just plays that I am going after. When I say plays, I mean players. But so let's get into it from the quarterback aspect. I honestly think this is a pretty good 3-game slate. If the Indianapolis Colts can score on the Vikings, it'll be a really good slate because you get Baltimore and Cleveland. Baltimore without Lamar, Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, getting back. We get Miami and Buffalo in. Miami's offense has not looked as good as they did in the beginning of the season, where they look like probably one of the top 5 best offenses in the league. Hopefully they get it back in this game. Buffalo's secondary hasn't been as good, been banged up. But still, like, 2 huge division games in Baltimore, Cleveland, Miami, Buffalo. Surprisingly, the Colts, Minnesota has the highest game total right now. Surprisingly. Miami, Buffalo, you have to adjust for the weather and the cold and all that fun stuff. But hopefully the Colts can actually move the ball, make the game interesting there. Baltimore, Cleveland, I think is going to be a pretty close game overall. Hopefully Deshaun Watson starts to get a little more comfortable, get some more chemistry with his team. So, quarterbacks. Josh Allen against Miami. Now, Josh Allen, although hasn't put up, the greatest numbers and all, he is still top 5 quarterback. I consider him top 3. It's pretty hard to decide that if you ask me, but his rushing is always a potential, and especially a game like this where Bradley Chubb is now on the team compared to when they played week 3. Bradley Chubb was not there, so Miami has some different weapons. Buffalo acquires Cole Beasley. Don't know if we're going to see him. They obviously want to have depth at every position. That's why they go and get John Brown. They get Cole Beasley. They get Hines. Like they've added pieces. They want depth. They still want Odell. I think they're adjusting for not having Odell anymore. But week 3 against Miami, 30 fantasy points. Now that's at Miami. This is going to be at Buffalo, where it's going to be cold. Probably going to get some snow, but Miami's corners have not played the greatest either. They're actually one of the worst. And Buffalo secondary, I mentioned, has not played the greatest either. Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, like the only thing that makes you go Tua over Josh Allen is the $1,700 price discount that you get. I still think Josh Allen probably is a high scorer quarterback on this slate. I do like Deshaun Watson. I do. I shouldn't. Baltimore secondary is really good. Deshaun Watson and that offense have not looked great at all. I like Deshaun Watson for a pivot off of Josh Allen and Tua getting away from that game. It's the lowest, so you're not going to see Deshaun Watson and Tyler Huntley high owned. So you get a pivot. Matt Ryan, I wish I could play Matt Ryan. I really hope he has like a 22, a 30 fantasy point game. I really hope so. I can't see it. They just have not looked good at all, and they should. Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman are a very good wide receiver duo, in my opinion. Very young. I look forward to seeing those 2 guys. Jelani Woods, a monster. They just don't use their weapons efficiently at all. Their offensive line just has not played good. So I'd say Kirk Cousins, I'm staying away from. I know they should score a lot of points and this, but Colts do get pressure. Their defense is good. I won't call them great or elite or anything. I think they are good, though. I think they do have a good defense. I haven't seen the Colts offense play all that great to really like them. So I'm probably, it is hard because the Miami Buffalo game, cold, snow, stuff like that, weather's there. Cleveland, Baltimore, huge division game. Those teams always play tough especially as of recent. I'd say since Baker got drafted, those teams have played tough. And then the Colts, Minnesota, like it on paper, it looks like a really good slate, and I do like it. It's just I could see this slate going backwards. So Josh Allen, Tua, and Watson are the quarterbacks. The three highest quarterbacks. I know I normally don't do this, but these are the three. If you're looking for a one-off piece, Matt Ryan against the Minnesota Vikings, that would be my guy. But it's not great. Now we get running backs, and if you were to tell me this is the price of these running backs in week 15, I would not believe you at all. I would call you crazy. Nick Chubb at 74, I think that is a price I could deal with. Little rough of a matchup, but Nick Chubb just gets volume. They feed him the ball. Could see it lately. I mean, 34 against Cincinnati. I get it, but they were down by a lot, so it's not like they're going to use him in a game like this where if Cleveland's defense can stop the run, Nick Chubb should get a lot of volume. I would, though, not go Nick Chubb. I don't think he's going to be high owned. I think you're looking at Taylor, Cook, and some of these pay down running backs. I really like Jonathan Taylor. Since Jeff Saturday's taken over the team, Taylor's got over 20 rushing attempts every game. His fantasy points are there too, and he scored 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games. I mean, his receiving is literally 3 for 4, 3 for 4, 3 for 4. So you're getting a Jonathan Taylor at, I think this is what is lowest that we've seen in a very long time. Minnesota's not played good against receiving backs like Jonathan Taylor can be. I like Jonathan Taylor. I like Dalvin Cook. It's the same thing. Colts do not play good against receiving backs. That's what Dalvin Cook is. Same thing. Just a huge volume running back. Obviously, Ham steals some goal line work sometimes. And Alexander Mattison's right there. Very good backup running back in the league. But Dalvin Cook is their guy. Maybe we see if Minnesota starts to get up, they start to go Mattison and kind of give Cook a little break. They obviously have to fight for the home field advantage, but if they're up, it could take him out and save his health for these last 3 weeks and the playoffs. So that's something you also have to account for. I still think him and Taylor are my 2 pay-ups. I'm not on Chubb right now. Devin Singletary against Miami, I'd lean yes if this is a game that becomes a little run heavy because of the weather. I don't want to use that as a factor, but it is something you have to consider. But he's put up some decent numbers. I just think there's some better paydowns. Like Jeff Wilson, if he ends up being out, Raheem Mostert at 53 is a good play. J.K. Dobbins at 5,200 against Cleveland is I really like that play as well. You're looking at all the running backs on the slate: Raheem Mostert, Singletary, Cook, Taylor. J.K. Dobbins is the cheapest by 100 if Jeff Wilson's out, and Raheem Mostert's the full starter. J.K. Dobbins at 5,200, I think it's a very good play. When he is healthy, he does play well. And you go, oh, well, he got 4.4, 1.5, yes. But you look at the volume, and then you look in week 6, he was hurt. Week 4 against a Buffalo team, 2-touchdown game. Otherwise, he gets 10 fantasy points. Yes, I get it. But the teams he's played has not been very good to the run game, and he gets his best matchup so far on the season against Cleveland. So, honestly, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook are my guys. I really like them. If Wilson's out, I like Raheem Mostert. And if I need a value, J.K. Dobbins is there for me. Let's go to wide receiver, where we have some of the big dogs. We get Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, all top 12. Check me. I'm pretty sure they are all top 12 wide receivers in fantasy this year. And we get them all in one slate, a 3-game slate. We get them. Now, when you go matchups, Justin Jefferson against Colts, yes, not the greatest matchup. Still a high volume guy where they're going to get him the ball. Whether he puts up a lot of points or not, they're still going to target him quite a bit. Tyreek Hill against Buffalo, I really like Tyreek Hill. I don't know what's going on with Jalen Waddle. Like, I do not know what's, like, the last 4 games, he's had 1 game over 5 targets. You look in the beginning of the year, he had a 19, a 10, a 9, 7, and then boom, just that volume is not there. The yardage is not there. I'm hoping that in this game where Buffalo's corners haven't been elite and great and like very scary, they've been very good. Don't get me wrong, very good. But Jalen Waddle, to get offs, Tyreek Hill, like you want to get a Miami receiver, $2,000 pay down is very optional, especially if you want to get Diggs against Miami. I think Diggs against Miami, you can go Gabe Davis against Miami. Gabe Davis here at 5K. Both those guys are very good plays, in my opinion, regardless of the weather or not. There's still going to be passes. Amari Cooper against Baltimore. It's one of those things to where he's got 16 targets in the last 2 games with Watson. It's 8 a game if you count it. His fantasy points 8 and 6.2, so not great. You have to remember, quarterbacks have to get that connection with the wide receiver. Sometimes it takes a little bit, sometimes it clicks. Baltimore's secondary is getting healthy. They still allow a lot of yards, though. And if Baltimore's not able to move the ball and Cleveland is on offense quite a bit, then Amari Cooper going to get volume. I like his price at $6,100. I think it's a good price for Amari Cooper. And it is possible to get him for a pay down on one of these guys. Now, one name that really stands out to me is Michael Pittman at $5,800. His target share is crazy on the Colts. Obviously, his fantasy points have not been great this year, especially as of late. I mean, if you consider this good for someone like Michael Pittman, who everyone, I think, expected to be a top 24 fantasy wide receiver, those aren't great numbers. This is a game where he can shine, especially if Minnesota does what they do and they're able to put up a lot of first half points, and the Colts do what they do and they're not able to do anything but get sacked and fumble the ball. Michael Pittman at $5,800 I think is a very good play. He's paid down at wide receiver, so if you want to pay up for 2 of these wide receivers, whoever they are, you could go with someone like Michael Pittman here at $5,800. Donovan Peoples-Jones, same thing. Amari Cooper, 16 targets in 2 games. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 15 targets. So him also getting targets. It's clear if Cleveland wants to get some momentum going into next year, they need to get that connection now. They don't need to, don't get me wrong, but it is nice to go into next year seeing some progress out of your quarterback and his weapons. Same thing as Amari Cooper. He's got a really good price. I like his matchup. Could easily see them not have chemistry, but I don't think it happens in this game. So another play there as well. Devin Duvernay down here at $4,300, being the number 1 receiver, I guess, in Baltimore. I like. It's hard to say who the number 1 receiver in Baltimore is, because you look at Robinson, you look at Duvernay, and like stat wise, it's Robinson. But I think Devin Duvernay is their number 1. It's just Robinson is clicking more. I mentioned Alec Pierce down here at $3,900. Same thing as Pittman. I think both these guys have an opportunity to put some big points on the board if that offense cannot turn the ball over and actually be able to move the ball. And those guys become playable. So that's it for the wide receiver. Tight end, we get Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson. The guy that I'm looking at, there's 2 guys. So I think Mark Andrews, yes, good play. Matchup is a little rough, though, against Cleveland, but Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. But Mark Andrews without Lamar is something else. So I think I stay away from Mark Andrews, especially with the talent of wide receiver, the running backs up here. And then if you want to go Josh Allen, you can't go Mark Andrews. It's almost impossible. You probably can't go TJ Hawkinson either. You're going to have to pay down at a tight end in order to pay up for those wide receivers, possibly running backs, and possibly Josh Allen. So David Njoku against Baltimore. I'd say a fairly decent matchup against Baltimore. It's not the greatest. Roquan Smith is decent against tight ends. 16 targets for Njoku in the last 2 games. Same as Amari Cooper. 1 more than Donovan Peoples-Jones. But he's got 2 touchdowns, which means he's getting red zone targets, which is what you want out of a tight end. One thing that we've seen in Deshaun Watson's career is his ability to just make talent come out. So, he never had a lot of weapons. Don't get me wrong. He had DeAndre Hopkins. He had Will Fuller. I get that. I do. But overall, I mean, the tight ends that he had were not good, and he made their tight ends playable. In fantasy and DFS, he made them playable. Now he gets a very good tight end in David Njoku, and in a very good game script for him. At 4,200, David Njoku is definitely one of my tight ends I'm looking at tomorrow. Dawson Knox, same thing. Very good matchup for him. It's him and Robert Tonyan are just oddballs to me this year, that they're not as good. Like, their fantasy numbers aren't as good as they are. He's got a very good game going against one of the worst defenses to tight ends. Dawson Knox, 3,900. Is definitely a play for me. Mike Gesicki's a terrible matchup against Buffalo. The Colts need to find a tight end. Like, they need to. They have to. Mo Alley Cox down here at 2,500. That's crazy. I'd like to play Jelani Woods. I think Jelani Woods is going to be the tight end in the future for the Colts. Hopefully, next year we start to see him take that step. 13 targets in the last 2 games. Only 4 against Dallas. Minnesota, not the greatest against tight ends, but they're not also bad against tight ends either. So 2,700, Jelani Woods is a play that I like. Yes, I know they have Granson. I know they have Mo Alley Cox. I'm sorry. But Jelani Woods at 2,700 is definitely a tournament play. Defenses, you're just going to have to take this chance. I'd say a smarter defense is take the Vikings. Just know that the Colts have not looked good at all. They've had showings of appearing good, but they're not. Now, on the contrary, Minnesota's defense has not looked the greatest, but with what the Colts have given defensive opportunities to, it's not a bad play. The Browns against Baltimore against Cleveland, like, those are the defenses you want to target. So I hope you guys did enjoy. I will have a video out tomorrow, I believe, going over Sunday's main slate. So look forward to that. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. If you guys want to join us, the link for that will be in the description down below. And I will see you guys in the next one.